Well, welcome back, and yeah, excuse the mess here, but let's turn the science station off. Part of the reason that some of this mess is accumulated is it, doing things under a microscope without a light can be annoying. I'll be honest with you. This one is the original light that came with the microscope when I bought it, and I mean, it's okay. It's not a variable brightness. It's not that bright. Let's see how bright it looks. It does the job, I guess. I mean, it does turn that into a little bit better on the screen for the camera. But at the same time, I bought this one. This one was about, I don't know how much it was. All I know is I can't find it anymore. It goes for about $80 now. And an unknown part, because they like to take the serial numbers off of things and laser it off, apparently it was running very hot. But this was a really awesome light. And when I say awesome, in the way of the fact that you could adjust the modes. It will light up different quadrants of the light. So it will light up this section and this section, or only this section and this section. And that adjustment of the light and the angle that the light came in allowed you to see numbers on small chips that you normally wouldn't be able to see under a microscope. So for the most part, 75% of the time, just hitting that mode adjusted it enough. The one thing I will say I do like about this light is this is metal. And I say that now because, well, I bought a cheap replacement when this one started to die out on me. Very bright, very good. But then this cheap replacement, this $20 replacement, figured, well, let's just get a microscope light up back under there. Uh, it still works, except if you glue cheap plastic or melt cheap plastic to cheap plastic, or even if you glue good plastic or melt good plastic to cheap plastic is still going to break. And that's exactly what happened here. It started to get loose after a while, and then they all started to have microfractures in there, and then they all started. No matter what I did, there was no repairing this. It was horrible. Was it bright? Yeah, it was really bright. In fact, just a huge hot spot. I don't think I ever really turned it up all the way, honestly, because it was just, that light, you're just magnifying it back into your eyes. So why would you? I probably kept it about there. That's about right. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't have that quadrant zone mode. So that's where you keep a flashlight at your desk, and with the right flashlight, and just hit it at the right angle. And usually that chip will show up, and you can identify that chip of what you need to work on. So here we are again. One broken light, two broken lights, and one that's just not variable, not adjustable, and, well, draws a lot of power, honestly. I mean, it's not an LED, it's a fluorescent, so get rid of that one. Hey, not your toy. Sorry. I didn't mean to freak out your hair sometimes. Anyway, um, so we decided to try a new one. Let's try this thing. Okay, so in here we have, take a look, our center polarized lens, some screws to mount to the microscope, USB port, and the light itself. I guess we can kind of toss that aside. The polarizing lens on this side spins, so you can adjust it. The switch is a push in, it's a toggle, turn on and off. Pull it towards you, or to the left turns it down, to the right turns it up. See how much current this thing's drawing. So that way I can get the right USB adapter for it, because it doesn't come with one. Let's see where we are here. Well, we're drawing 1 amp, so you could just go with the cheap whatever is laying around that you don't use anymore because you're mostly using USB-C, 5 volt, 1 amp, 10 watt. The steps and how it adjusts the lighting, not that bad. Doesn't remember where it was at. That's a big thing. So I had power failure. Simulate power failure. Power went out. Blah. Oh no. All right. Plug it back in. I come back in. I turn the microscope light on, and bam, right up to 1 amp again. If I hold it, does it just adjust? Yeah, it does. A little quick, but okay. I mean, let's say I didn't have a power failure. Let's just say I'm done for the day. I turned it off. Then I come back in. I turn it back on. I left it at 0.5 amp. It came back at 0.5 amp. Okay, so it will, I don't have to adjust it every time I turn it on and off. And for the occasional power failures, I'm gonna have to readjust it. Not a big deal. I say we give it a shot and see how it works. First thing we have to do is figure out how we want to get that center ring, because if you don't have the center ring to go with it, then you're not going to be able to get that polarization effect, essentially. The one thing I am disappointed about is when I bought it, I think it was like $25 on Amazon. It did say material, metal. I don't even think this is aluminum. This might be aluminum. That's definitely not metal. Nope, that's plastic. So my hopes and dreams of finding something as good as this with a metal case that won't break on these stress points over time, it's just not going to happen, I guess, unless I spend $80, because I can only find one more of these available for 80 bucks. What I will say is I do see different materials inlaid here. So I have one material that seems to be fused to another. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, this seems to be a leaker ABS type of plastic. This seems to be some sort of glass filled type of plastic. So they did inlay a harder plastic where the tension screws go. So there might be hope for this. This is my 0.5 Barlow lens. And the one thing I've always suggested when, especially if you're soldering under a microscope, is you're going to get those fumes, those buildups from flux and what have you, is put a 1 adapter on here. So basically no magnification. This is just another lens. In my case, I could have put a plastic ring on here that these microscope lights mount up to, but I decided to go with this one because it's just another layer of protection. All the fumes and all the dirt gather on this. This is a lot easier to clean than it is taking a chance on risking damaging or scratching your Barlow lens. So that's why I do it that way. As far as its fit, I gave it some thought. I did look at this lens earlier before I started recording this video. There is actually a slight gap between the glass and the aluminum ring here. With that slight gap, in theory, I could pull off this ring that's holding this non-magnification glass in here, replace that, and put that in there and put that ring on there and just make this a polarized adapter for all my Barlow lenses at that point. If when I ever change them, right? But I would have to pull the glass out of this, and this is glued, so I'd have to put it in some sort of solvent and hope that it doesn't screw up any of the coating or the polarization of the glass coat. If this is a polarized coating, I'm not sure. There's risk involved. And looking at it, I was like, well, technically, this to this If I open this up a little, let's see. Technically, this to this does work. You could just, there's no, but of course, all your soldering fumes are going to be hitting that polarized lens now. So I don't know if you want to do that, but, and as soon as you pull your lid off to change your lens or something, that's going to fall out and you take a chance of screwing it up, scratching it. So instead, I decided to go on the top side of it. This screws onto the microscope, so this screws onto here. So let's see how good it fits in here. Let's try that. Okay, so now I'm only cleaning this one. The polarization is in the middle, and then I got my Barlow lens magnifications. Now there's only seems to be two ways to do this. I guess you have options. You could take the glass out and take that risk. There's a little lip on here. This little lip in this particular Barlow lens for the 5 anyway seems to work good. But if you go upside down the wrong way, what's going to happen is you're not going to get that proper tension. And that lens kind of rattles around. So there's that. Now for me, I normally keep my microscope on the that particular Barlow anyway, most of the time. But let's say if I was to change it. Okay, here's a 0.75. So in my 0.75, would I have the same success installing this polarizer the same way? Yep, looks like that'll work either way I do it. Okay. My 2X WD-30 actually comes with the microscope clamp. So yeah, that would be an issue. I didn't think about that. So you're not able to screw that onto that. That's not going to work. There's not enough thread in here to put the glass in here. So I would have no choice but to do this one this way. That would be the only way that I would be able to run this one. Which, besides a little rattle in there, it will work. I mean, technically it would work, but luckily I never use this lens, so it won't be a big deal for me. But it might be for you. That's why I'm bringing it up, so you know before you buy. So that way you don't have to go through the hassle of return if it doesn't work for you. Let's put this together, give it a shot, see what it looks like, huh? Back with my metal on the metal. We got that line in there, nice and flat and even. Yep, good. Let me redirect you to my television because I'm going to try to pick up how it looks to me on the microscope. This might be hard. We're going to see what we can do. Plug the battery in, give it some power. What I don't have is you didn't see me in this reflection. Wait a moment. There we go. Camera. All right. I have a feeling Yep, there you go. Turn on auto exposure. Thank you. I mean, that is pretty much what I see. That same amount of blur there on that chip. Now let's spin the polarizer. Oh, that's nice. I gotta say that is very nice. Not only that, is it does brings out the laser engravings and helps me even see the traces on a black board a lot easier. Hold on, let me give you. I'm gonna go for the clearest view that I see. Now I'm looking at this camera, and I can tell you right now, this camera doesn't do it justice for what I see through the. Let me manually adjust a few things here. Yeah, that's almost night and day. That's pretty much what I see. So normal, not normal. Sorry. That is really nice. How long is it going to last? I really don't know. Okay, real quick update. The flaring on my camera down that bottom left-hand corner was actually bugging me. So I pulled out my Barlow lens and I pulled out the number one that I keep on there for protection from fumes and everything from getting the microscope. And I was trying to figure out where that was coming from, or if the addition of the polarized sheet or glass in between was causing it. What I did notice though, after I pulled this out to clean it, these are exactly the same diameter. So I decided I'm actually going to try. It looks like, if I can get that back, on a microscope, if I look at it really close, it just looks like it's glue of some sort. So I'm thinking if I heat it up just right, I'm going to start at about 150, 160. Let's go 160. I'm not going to give it that long. I'm only trying to heat up the glue. So basically I'm focusing on the aluminum. I don't really need to focus on the glass, but I'm doing this to make sure the glass doesn't crack and give it more of an even heat too, as well. I don't want to give it a thermal shock or anything to make it crack. You know what? That just fell right out. Okay, so it's only got a little bit of glue in there. It's a little warm. Oh, that's kind of nice. Let's let this cool down for a second. I'll have to clean it. Chemtech wipes and isopropyl alcohol. What a solution. So one less piece of glass that could cause flaring or reflecting to happen. But I noticed whatever that is, it seems to be an artifact of the camera. It might be the anti-reflective on the Barlow lens, actually. Maybe I just never really noticed it before. Maybe I never really looked at that corner that closely, to tell you the truth. Because even just with the Barlow lens on by itself, and I took that apart and cleaned it too, I got that same flaring on the camera. But without the lens, that flaring goes away. And it is a bluish tint, which leads me to believe that flaring may be because the anti-reflective coating on the Barlow lens is a bluish tint. It might be that. I'm not going to worry about that too much. But I figure if I could make my 1.0 Barlow lens, or my adapter over here that I use to attach the microscope light to it, if I can make that just one piece, like so, that might be worth some extra time on this. Put that retaining ring back in. Let me see here. Get a little bit of tension. Well, you know, that's going to work. Put that back on the microscope. Now, let's make sure everything still works here. Well, the polarization and everything seems to work just as good. Let's put that same chip underneath it. Yep, works just as good. Yeah, that's about what I see under the microscope. That nice hard to read chip going on here, no doubt. We'll focus on that chip. You can see that's very hard. Not right there. And then we'll give it a little bit of a polarization. Watch the drastic change happen here. That's about the best under the microscope I'm going to get it. That's a huge drastic change. That's not exactly what I see, but so if I adjust my settings manually, yeah, that's pretty much what I see. That is just, it is an amazing night and day difference. I will give it that much. More than I expected. And this is actually digitally zoomed for you guys right now. So let me back that out. We are definitely going to keep it that way. Let me put this back to auto. It really didn't do a bad job on auto either, did it? It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's better. I'm just trying to adjust it to the point of, you know, when you look on the microscope, it's totally different from what I see. That's about the blur that I see on the microscope, though. And it is quite a blur. But if I adjust that polarization, even with the camera on auto, it does break it out quite well, which is surprising. But if you really want to see what I'm seeing, let me go ahead and adjust this down. I'll take my gain down to about 30. And let me bring my exposure up to about 500. Okay, maybe not that high. Bring my gain down just a notch more. Yeah, that is about more clear. That's a more true, accurate representation of what I'm actually seeing through the microscope there. True representation of what I see. That's what I was saying. Yeah. That's more like the actual representation of what I see under the microscope. I like it. Let's hope it lasts longer than 6 months. That's pretty cool. I like that. Lay it off. Thanks for watching. And yeah, all that good stuff. Sure. Subscribe, whatever. Don't care anymore. If you haven't noticed, I don't do videos anymore. Just don't have time for it. I really don't. I think at this point I'd rather just put stuff out raw, not edit it. Here you go, take it or leave it. Okay, I'm done. Bye.